Welcome back to the channel. This is the action figure grader. Last night over at LCG Auctions, they had their winter premiere auction, and there were some incredible items in there that I wanted to go through to show you all the sales prices. All of the prices that I'm going to quote include the 20% buyer's premium, and there were some really good deals. Very, very good deals. There were some that went above my expectations. There was a loose graded Glasslite Brazilian Vlix, kind of the holy grail, in my opinion, for loose graded or mint on card. Obviously, mint on card. We just saw one in the Hakes auction 2 or 3 sessions ago. But this one was an AFA 75 plus, really nice. And I thought the price was pretty fair for what it was. I did get a new Patreon supporter that I need to say thank you to. Tashi Station Studios, thank you very much. As you can tell by the graphic that I'm going to put up right now, I used AI to show Luke Skywalker working on his speeder and parts laid out everywhere. And so he's going to head to Tashi Station to get some more parts. So I thought you'd laugh at that. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that's really cheesy. Probably it is. All right. So let's take a look. Again, all these prices include the buyer's premium. This was a good deal. This was a pretty good deal. This was an AFA 80 double telescoping Saber Luke Farm Boy. It sold after the buyer's premium for $13.18. AFA 80 just graded in October of 2024. So that was a good deal. This one was probably, in my opinion, the best deal of everything in this auction lot. This was a steal. God, I wish I had, I wish my willpower wasn't so good sometimes, because this is a figure that I'd love to get one day. This is the orange-haired Luke Farm Boy, graded AFA 80, just graded in December of 2024, and it sold for $21.24, which feels like an absolute bargain. I mean, I've seen loose complete examples that are in similar condition go for $3,000 plus. There was an AFA 85 that I believe it was either Facebook or eBay. I think it was Facebook that sold around $5. And obviously prices have come back down a little bit since those prices I've quoted you, but still, I was thinking at least $3,000 for this one. I'm shocked it went that cheap for the orange-haired Luke. That is a very tough variant to find, and an absolutely great deal if you happen to be the one that bought that. That was a very, very good deal. Some early card backs. We had a 12-back C3PO punched example graded AFA 85. 85, 85, 90 were the subscores on that one as well. And that one sold for $17.14 for a 12C. That seems like a pretty fair deal for a punched example, and later 12-back, not a bad deal at all. 12B Stormtrooper graded AFA 85. That one sold for $21.61. Unpunched, no price sticker as well on that one. And they mentioned that there are some that have gone as high as $5,000, which doesn't surprise me at all. That seems like probably a right number for an AFA 85. That one feels like a good deal as well. This one was the 12A small head Han Solo graded AFA 85, unpunched with a price sticker in this one. On this one, there was the last time a triple 85 Han 12-back A appeared in their auctions, it realized a price of $9,532 in summer of 2023. And so I kind of like how LCG does that, where they show some past data points from their auctions. And, you know, it was straight 85s, and that's a pretty significant price drop. We're talking about, what's that? About a 40 to 45% price drop from September of 2023. Now, summer of 2023. Now, summer of 2023, that was, you know, I think that was after kind of the peak prices, but still really high. You know, we were still very much in the strongest of the strongest collectibles market at that time. It was really kind of 2024 where we started to see the declines, maybe even in late 2023. So, that's a pretty incredible price drop for a 12-back A small head Han. Here was a Garastellari, mi dispiace. Such an idiot. 12-back C3PO on the Harbert Italian Garastellari. AFA 70 plus, that one sold for $15.13. That's a pretty strong price for a 70 plus grade. You know, I didn't really have a good data point in mind for this one, but you know, I've seen some other Chewbacca's and Tusken Raiders, which you could argue are easier to find than the R2D2. I mean, again, you're not talking to somebody that knows these foreign card backs very well, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But you know, we've seen some higher grade examples for those particular characters go in the 1,800 to 2,200 range, depending on timing and what auction house or eBay and the grade, obviously. So I didn't have an idea as to where this one would sell. And, you know, 1513, I guess, is a fair value. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to kill anybody for that price. 1513 for an AFA 70 plus. Here was the Creature Cantina AFA 80 plus. And that one sold for $21.24. Pretty healthy price there for the Creature Cantina. I mean, I've seen some sealed, really clean examples, ungraded, sell on eBay in the 800 to 1,200 range. It just depends on condition and things like that. So, you know, 21.24, probably about right, I would guess, for an AFA 80 plus. Here was the Bell display, the Collect 21 Bell display, AFA 85 on that one. And this is a very big item. And that one sold for $3,037, freshly graded as well. So lots of freshly graded items in this auction, and that is a really nice centerpiece for a upper tier collection. You know, that to me really displays nicely. You could even hang it on the wall, I guess. I don't know if I'd trust hanging it on a wall, but $30.37 for an AFA 85 plus. It's just got great artwork to it. And, you know, I can see the allure of that one. Some proof cards also sold. Here was an AFA 70 offerless 31B Luke Farm Boy. So an ESB proof card. And given that it was only an AFA 70, it still sold for $65.10. That really shows you the collectability and the desire from collectors for ESB proof cards. It's a very tough line to collect if you're into collecting ESB proof cards, and obviously 12 and 21 proof cards are even tougher, but that was a really good price, I feel like, for an AFA 70. Again, you're talking to somebody that doesn't know proof cards all that well, except for Revenge of the Jedi proof cards. And speaking of the devil, I thought this one was a really good deal for an AFA 85 Revenge of the Jedi Luke Bespin. That one sold for $18.31. That is a price I would pay in a heartbeat. That's about in the same ballpark of what I paid for my AFA 85 Leia Bespin proof card, and I'm not saying they're comparable, but they kind of are. You know, they're not like the Farm Boy or the Princess Leia Organa First 12 proof card, and it's that kind of second tier down where the prices are a little more reasonable. You know, reasonable relatively speaking. Okay, I know this is an expensive item, but you know, it's about the same ballpark of what I paid for mine. And to me, if I had been in the market for another proof card, I would have gone to $2,000 or even $2,200 on this one in particular pretty easily. So I thought that was a good deal. You know, on the other end, I thought this one went a lot higher than I expected. It was an AFA 85 plus for Dengar on the Revenge of the Jedi proof card. And, you know, quite honestly, I've seen them in this grade be listed on Facebook for quite a bit less than this number. So 3568 is a very strong number for a secondary or even tertiary character that most people don't care about. And I'm really surprised it went this high. I was thinking 2,500, to be honest with you. You know, for an AFA 85, not 85 plus, but 85, I would think $1,600 to $1,800. So I was thinking, okay, 85 plus, maybe it gets to 2,500, and it sold for $35.68. That's well above my expectations. I'm not dogging you if you happen to buy this. I'm just giving you my opinions on this, and my opinions, as we all know, if you watch my channel regularly, are very routinely wrong. Okay, so just take that for what you will. But that number was a lot higher than I was expecting. To be fair on that, this was an AFA 50. For the Yan Solo Miscard with the Luke Jedi inside. This is a Miro Meccano card back, AFA 50. We've seen some other examples go in the 12 to 1400 range that were like AFA 40s with blister support. I don't know if you remember those on my channel. There was one that kept popping up over and over again on eBay. and it kept selling in the anywhere from as low as $800 to $1,200, and it kept getting passed around from different sellers. So, this one went again higher than I was expecting. It's not a fairly uncommon it's not an uncommon miscard. So it's a fairly common miscard. And, I'm not saying it's super common. I mean, it's still a very desirable item. And I would just want it just for the Jan Solo on the name pill. That's pretty cool. But that one did go a little bit higher than I was expecting as well. Here was that transition Canadian C-3PO removable limbs. And that one actually went, a pretty fair price for what it is. It was only an AFA 60, but again, if you're not familiar with these transition Canadian card backs, they just had a lot of leftover ESB packaged figures. And as they were transitioning over to the Return of the Jedi line in stores, Kenner Canada slapped these Return of the Jedi logos as stickers right on the card backs and then just threw them out the door. So the removable limbs C-3PO came, on the 45 back. In the US, it was the 47 back, I believe, was the debut card. But this, obviously, they slapped on these stickers, and they're very desirable. Anytime you get a transition kind of card back like this from the Kenner Canada line, in higher grade, they can go for a lot of money, or ungraded, they can go for a lot of money. There was a Cloud Car palette that sold in the $2,000 range, maybe even higher than that, over on Facebook. And, so in high grade, they can be a lot of money, especially clear blister. This one had a yellow blister, and it was only an AFA 60, so that did keep the price down to $854. But again, just given how rare these are, I don't think that's an unfair deal at all. The Tri-Logos that I'm going to point out did go maybe a little higher than I was expecting. This is an AFA 80 Leia Bouche, and it says rounded corner blister on the AFA label. There's only 5 examples, but again, there's only 5 examples that have the rounded corner blister on the label. And, AFA has gotten a lot more detailed on some, I'm not saying all, but on some of their Tri-Logo AFA labels. And so that could play a factor into it. I have an AFA 80 Bouche. I don't know if mine's a rounded corner blister or not. I didn't pull it down to check before I started this video, but mine's a CAS 80, so it wouldn't even fall into the population report. Now, if I think it is a rounded blister, I just don't know if it's the exact same kind of blister. This blister maybe even looks a little smaller than the blister that's on mine. So, it's just when you start digging into the nitty gritty on 70 back B, C, D, for the Tri-Logos, and then the type of blister on top of that, it just gets really confusing and well above my pay grade. But, for reference, my CAS 80, and I would argue that mine would get an AFA 80 if I submit it to AFA. It's a true 80 grade. I paid about $940 for mine about a year ago, maybe a little bit less. I can't remember. And so this one was an AFA 80. It sold for $1136. We've seen some AFA 85s for the Leia Bouche. Again, I'm not saying rounded corner blister and all that kind of stuff, but, just plain mint on card, Tri-Logo, Palatoy, Bouches. There was an AFA 85 that sold in the 800s on eBay here recently when CIB had one of their big auctions. So this number did seem a little higher, but again, it could play into the factor about the 1 of 5 on the population report. And now that they're getting more specific with their labels. And the same thing for the Yoda. They say transition blister. I have no idea what this stuff means. I really don't. And again, there's people that do. I just don't. I don't know. I will say that this blister is way different than the one that's on my Tri-Logo. So it's just a different style blister where it's kind of angles in. It's similar to the Yak Face that I have Tri-Logo, where the blister edges angle in towards the front of the blister. And, on mine, they labeled a PBP blister. Everyone says that was incorrect. So maybe that's what it would get relabeled if I sent it in to AFA for recasing. Not that I'm going to, but I'm just saying if I did, they would probably label it a transition blister, or miscard blister is the other term I've heard from folks, that it was just the wrong type of blister for that particular figure. So who knows? But this one sold for $854 for an AFA 75 plus, probably about market if you ask me. Next up, this I thought also went cheaper than I was expecting. This was an AFA 80 factory sealed Return of the Jedi AT-AT, and that one sold for $25.10. That was a lot less than I was expecting, to be honest with you. That is a a very good price relative to some that we've seen sell. I don't remember where the last one sold. There might have been one in the last Hakes auction. I don't know. I know that Heritage had one as well that went for significantly above this number. So that I thought that was a really good deal. Next up, the Ewok Battle Wagon, AFA 75. That one sold for $11.36. We've seen factory sealed but ungraded Ewok battle wagons go for higher than this number. I've seen as high as $1,400 within the last 6 months on eBay. So $11.36 was a very fair number for an AFA 75 in my mind. This was an AFA 70 Biker Scout on the Power of the Force card. And, you know, we talk about this particular character on this particular card back all the time. It's a very tough one to get. And there was an AFA 80 clear blister that sold for around $2,000 recently on eBay. Don't quote me on that. I think it's in a video that I've made but have not released yet because I'm doing some traveling this month. But, you know, obviously this was a lower grade, slightly yellowed blister, and then obviously it had quite a bit of litho damage in the upper right-hand corner from where they tried to remove the price sticker unsuccessfully. So that one did sell for $452. This was another big number. Big number. This was an AFA 85 Yoda on the Power of the Force card. Unpunched, no price sticker. And the subgrades were 85, 80, 85. And that one sold for $58.47. That is a huge number. Way bigger than I was expecting. We've seen some AFA 80s go recently in the $2,300 to $2,800 range. And, you know, is it worth $58.47 to you? I don't know. To me, I wouldn't pay that personally, but somebody had to have it, and I get it because Yoda on the Power of the Force card is very, very hard to find, or maybe not hard to find, but it's expensive. It's, you know, it's not exactly the, you know, it's not like the rarest thing because, you know, as you can see here, it says there are a total of 84 AFA graded examples, and this is one of 22 AFA 85. So it's not particularly rare, you know, being one of 22, but it is a very, very high grade with none graded higher. So I get it. Next up here is that Vlix. What an incredible item. And as the auction was going on, the LCG estimate was $7,500, and they nailed it. They nailed the price. It sold for $75.21 for a loose graded Glasslite Brazilian droids. There was an AFA 80. This is the one I was referring to that sold that sold on Hakes. That was in November of 2024. That one sold for $44,000. $44,000. And so this one was just graded in December, AFA 75 plus. That one is a true holy grail type of item, in my opinion. That's a beauty. Very, very cool item. So they nailed that price, though. Here are some bootlegs that did sell. None of these were AFA qualified graded, which is what they usually give it for the carded Hungarian line because they were stapled onto the card. And one of y'all responded in a video recently that the manufacturers melted the blisters on some of these to keep people from stealing the figures. So that's why some of these that I'm going to show you do have a melted blister. This one was the Leia Hungarian bootleg, complete with the black blaster. She also came, I believe, with a red or green blaster. Don't quote me on that as well. That's the blue card. That one sold for $15.01. Here is kind of the Han Solo Hungarian bootleg, and you can see there how it's kind of melted. That's apparently what they did to keep people from stealing the figures. I don't see the blaster in here on this one. I assume he came with one, but yeah, there it is. I think in the upper left-hand corner is the blaster for that one. But so that one sold for $10.26. The Biker Scout sold for $11.28. So they're kind of in that $1,000 to $1,500 range for carded Hungarian bootlegs for those of you looking for those. Most people don't, but I thought that was cool. Here is a qualified AFA 80 for the Uzay Turkish bootleg MLC3 mini rig. So very interesting box art on this one. You can see how pixelated the logo is. It's just kind of a weird, wonky item, and it shows some of the other Hungarian bootlegs, Turkish Uzay bootlegs that were available in the line, along with the Blue Stars. A Blue Stars Hoth Stormtrooper is considered the most desirable. I've got the Imperial Gunner and Chewbacca without weapons, and there's a Stormtrooper, the TIE Fighter pilot, ERG, Darth Vader, all of those. There's also a R5-D4, which he's on there as well. Sorry, right there. You can see the R5-D4 right there. So I think that's the entire line, actually, they've got of figures. But they did make this mini rig. They did not make the other mini rigs that, except for the ATV-7. I think the ATV-7 is the only one. I don't think there was an ISP-6, but I could be mistaken on that. But I'm pretty sure there's no ISP-6. But I know that the ATV-7 was manufactured. There was a loose-graded UKG one that just sold on eBay. So anyway, that was a pretty cool item. That one did sell for $31.10. Big number on that as well. Starting bid of $350. I had no idea what that was going to sell for. I haven't seen one sell in a while. But anyway, there were a lot of interesting sales, both at the high end and above my expectations, and then some really good deals as well. Just keep an eye out for the next LCG auction. I'm sure I'll do a preview video whenever they do another session, probably in the spring. I'm assuming they'll probably do another session for LCG auctions. So as always, I really appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to leave me a like if you enjoyed the video. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll be back soon.